Elecampane is a distinctly pungent, warming plant. There's no doubt about it. This plant is warming. And in the Greek tradition, they actually said that Elecampane was warming in the 3rd degree. And what that means is that it's going to thin fluids. It's going to push heat to the surface to produce a nice, strong sweat, which is, of course, what we see in terms of its stimulant diaphoretic property. It's going to warm the lungs. It's going to warm the stomach. It's going to circulate blood. It's going to thin fluids, produce a sweat, and aid in that expectoration of excess phlegm. So we see it really, really great as a warming remedy. As such, it tends to be quite drying energetically, so it's going to be really great for those damp conditions. You know, it's making you sweat, so you're losing fluids through sweat. You're coughing up phlegm and mucus that's ultimately leaving the body. That's going to have a net drying action. And then we see that it does have a mild relaxant property in terms of tissue tone. And we see that it definitely has that stimulant property, as we've discussed, as a diaphoretic and as an expectorant and as and as a circulatory stimulant. So those are kind of the core energetic profile of Elecampane. In terms of its action on the doshas of Ayurveda, this is very specific for reducing an excess of the Kapha dosha. Kapha tends to be cold, damp, heavy, phlegmatic, stagnant, right? And so Elecampane is going to thin those fluids, those stagnant fluids, and aid in their expectoration. It's going to warm up the coldness, and it's going to dry out the dampness, and it's going to like uplift that heaviness, right? And that's that stimulant aromatic property. It kind of radiates outwards. It uplifts, and things that are like fluids that are sinking and heavy in the lungs, heavy in the stomach. Even as we'll talk about in the specific indications and kind of psychological factors, depression, a heaviness in the mind, Elecampane is very specific for. So it's going to, in that sense, tends to aggravate pitta. So we do have to be a little bit careful in like overly inflamed conditions, overly irritated tissues. We got to be a little careful with Elecampane because this is a really, really hot plant. So that is its actions on the doshas, and then translating that into the tissue states of the physiomedicalists. This is going to be very specific for the damp stagnation tissue state, the cold depression tissue state. And these are, basically just the Western ways of describing the Kapha dosha. So these are some of the main properties of Elecampane.